Tokyo, the Global Next Step conference in Singapore last month drew academics, government officials, and other experts to closed-door discussions on techno-nationalism, co-sponsored by the Peterson Institute for International Economics and the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy. As the fight for supremacy in the industry of semiconductors and other advanced technologies rages, with the United States and China at the center, countries are taking increasing measures to protect their technology. U.S. export controls and subsidies for electric cars are particularly controversial. Washington's strategy of taking unilateral action and pressuring allies to do the same drew quite a bit of criticism. In a panel discussion, you said that while the economic security measures taken by the United States are understandable, Washington should show more transparency and hold prior consultations with friends like Japan and Europe. There were many comments from participants from Southeast Asian countries, including Singapore, which has deep economic ties to China, that they were opposed to being forced to choose between Washington and Beijing. Recently we've had a number of visits from top U.S. officials asking us to reduce our economic dependence on China, but it's hard to do, says a Singapore-based private economist. Economic ties between China and the Association of Southeast Asian Nations continued to deepen during the pandemic, says Nobuhiro Haim, a partner at Deloitte Tomatsu Consulting. According to HIMI data, Chinese direct investment in ASEAN grew by 22.4% annually from 2019 to 2021, while ASEAN investment in China increased by 15.9%. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations has topped China's ranking as the best trading partner since 2020, ahead of the European Union. Japan ranked 4th through 2021, but fell to 5th in the first 10 months of this year, overtaking South Korea. Haim says this could be because Japanese companies voluntarily restrict their trade with China, coupled with weak domestic demand from Japan. Despite the U.S. and Europe restricting trade in advanced technologies, overall trade with China shows strong growth. In a speech last month on American competitiveness and the China challenge, U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo said that COVID has opened our eyes to long-term risks, to the private sector and the American people, from our over-reliance on porcelain. Raimondo emphasized the goal of preserving the U.S. advantage in 3 core technologies: biotechnology, clean energy, and advanced computing, including artificial intelligence. The minister, who has been talked about as a possible future presidential candidate, leads U.S. economic policy towards China and leads efforts to attract partners such as Japan and Europe. After restricting cutting-edge chip technology to China and starting to subsidize electric vehicles, Washington is now considering curbing investments by American companies in China. If the regulations are issued by executive order, Japan and Europe could be pressured to follow through, says Kumiko Pavet of PwC Japan. Ahead of the U.S.-France summit on December 1st, French President Emmanuel Macron warned that unilateral U.S. actions would fragment the West. The European Union has begun to back down. A new regulation approved in late November allows transactions on the bloc to be scrutinized by companies that receive subsidies above a certain level. This could limit European investment by companies that receive large amounts of government funding not only from China, but also from the United States or Japan. Meanwhile, Beijing has filed a complaint with the World Trade Organization over Washington's export controls. All this indicates the rise of techno-nationalism. The impact of the pandemic can be felt in various conflicts and divisions in the world. In the 3 years since the coronavirus outbreak, in-person interaction has plateaued around the world. Alternatives have emerged, such as virtual meetings, but they can't easily convey the nuances.